Well, good morning. I want you to imagine a company, if I could have the slides, please. A company that builds a product. See if we get these slides working here. A company that builds a product, a piece of equipment for another company. A customer that is the largest operator of that equipment in the world. And the company that builds this product is so in tune with its customer that they are really able to anticipate, because it is a partnership, anticipate the critical questions that that customer is asking in terms of trying to win in the marketplace. Namely, how do we turn more airplanes faster with fewer people? Because after all, at the end of the day, airplanes don't make money when they're sitting on the ground. Airplanes only make money when they're in the air. And that is exactly what Boeing did with Southwest Airlines. They went to Southwest and they said, look, we understand that you're concerned about aircraft utilization. How do you increase aircraft utilization? Southwest said, well, we don't have the full answer to that question, but we think it has something to do with turning airplanes on the ground faster. Now let me ask you a question. If you were going to go somewhere to figure out how to turn an airplane faster, where would you go? The airport. I would go to the true experts. I would go to the geniuses. I would go to the people in the trenches at the point of action. And that's exactly what Boeing did. Boeing invited flight attendants, gate agents, ramp agents, pilots, and everybody in between to come to their manufacturing facilities and help them think about redesigning an aircraft. And of course, they learned a lot because they said, you guys are the true experts. You use this equipment every day. What can we do to get that plane in and out faster? And of course, the pilots said, well, you know what? It would help if we standardized the cockpits. It would help if we simplified the cockpits so we could get in, do our pre-flight check, and get out and go spend more time with the customers, internal or external, than we do in pre-flight checks in the cockpit. And the dialogue was stimulating, and there were other people then that said, you know, if I were going to learn more about turning an airplane faster, maybe we ought to go to the Indy pit crews. Because at the end of the day, Indy races, any professional car race, is won where? On the track or in the pits? In the pits, right? They said, think about it. A driver pulls into the pits and has to hit a specific mark. Why? Because everybody around that car is pre-positioned. And if the driver doesn't hit that mark exactly, then it takes longer for the fueler, for the pneumatic wrench, or whoever it is to adjust to get into that car. But if the driver hits his mark, everybody comes in simultaneously, boom, boom, jack it up, pull it down, and the car's out of there. And the fastest pit crews create the best competitive advantage for the driver on the racetrack. And so Boeing said, okay, help us reconfigure this plane so that when the pilot pulls in to hit his or her mark at the jetway, we can have the fueler come in at the same time, the lab person comes in at the same time, the provisioning person comes in at the same time that we deplane, and all of this can happen simultaneously. We think if we can do that with you, we can turn these airplanes fast. Boeing wasn't interested in just selling an airplane. Boeing was interested in a relationship. Boeing was interested in a partnership designed to find a solution that would create long-term impact. And of course, the result of this is the world-famous 10-minute turn for which Southwest Airlines is so well known, which basically means from the time the plane hits the ground, pulls into the gate, unloads, loads up again, and is airborne, it happens within the confines of 10 minutes. Now today, that 10-minute turn has increased to about 20 or 25 minutes because of the luggage we carry on board and because of the security procedures that are now foisted upon them. But the fact of the matter is they still turn an airplane about 60% faster than their nearest competition. What's the big deal about that? The big deal is that they can run about 40 less airplanes in their system at $50 million apiece. Now, I would submit to you this morning that the innovation behind the 10-minute turn and the success behind the relationship between Boeing and Southwest Airlines is as much a cultural issue as it is an information technology issue. Quite frankly, I got to tell you, I had about 20-plus hours to think about this presentation on the way here from California. And I thought, you know, I'm going to be the skunk at the picnic. And I don't want to come here and commit intellectual suicide because some of the brightest thinkers, some of the titans of the IT industry around the globe are meeting at this conference. What am I going to tell them about information technology? And while I am absolutely convinced that information technology is so key and so critical to deepening customer relationships, I thought I would take a left turn on you this morning and talk more about the culture and the people behind companies that are creating deeper relationships. Now, I think when you talk about, deepening customer relationships, what are you really talking about? You're talking about delivering on a brand promise, which begs the question here this morning, what is a brand? Is it your logo? I don't think so. A brand is a promise of a pending experience. It essentially says to your customers, do business with us. Sign on with us, and this is the kind of experience that we will provide for you. Sign on with us, and in your cases, this is the kind of experience that we will create for your customers. It says to your employees, come work with us, and this is the kind of experience that we will create for you. This is the kind of culture you will live in. These are the kind of people that you will rub shoulders with. I got a question for you this morning. Does the experience match the promise in your business? Because if it does, you are probably here this morning in the process of deepening and broadening your relationship with your customers. If it doesn't, whether you know it or not, you are probably watching, X value walk out the door to one of your competitors who is going to create the experience the customer is looking for. We have written 3 books about unconventional, renegade companies that are winning in the marketplace and creating businesses that are booming. And I'd like to challenge you this morning with 3 questions that I think every one of those companies that is deepening customer relationships is asking themselves. And I'd like to challenge you to ask yourself these questions as well. By the way, if you would like the slides from this presentation this morning, you can just log on to our site, go /NASSCOM, and we will give you the slides from the presentation today. All right, question number 1. Are we rigorous? Are we flat out rigorous about hiring people who choose service over self-interest? Now, I know the politically correct answer to that question, and so do you. But the question is, are you walking the talk? Because I would tell you this morning, there is no more powerful form of leadership, no more powerful form of influence than when I make a decision to serve you internally, you make a decision to serve me, and together we create a spirit of service that's so thick you can cut it with a knife.